everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another one of my Gay Gamer video podcasts. This week, like many other people, I went to see the new Marvel movie, Thunderbolts. Asterix. And I don't know if I lowered my expectations a lot or if it was actually that good, but I really enjoyed it. I think it actually is that good. I was as surprised as anybody, because this should not have worked. It's basically like, remember in the beginning, you had like big heroes like Captain America and Thor and Iron Man, and then they're like, now we're gonna put them all in one movie together called The Avengers. It's a team up. And it was exciting and thrilling and something you'd never seen before, and it was really good. Here, they're like, let's take supporting characters and quasi-villains from other Marvel movies and TV shows and throw them together in a movie and have them team up in a movie. And it's just like, why? Like, what is the point of this? This is like these D-list characters, and it's like, why? I mean, I know people like Bucky, and Yelena has become popular too, the Yelena Black Widow. But it's like, I was like, why are you even making this movie? So I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. But it was. It's funny and like a little dark, but like, it's cohesive. I don't know if that's because like only 2 people wrote the script instead of like a dozen, but it doesn't feel like recent Marvel movies, which feel like they were written and directed by committee, where like it seems to be going one way and then suddenly like something happens and you're like, wait, what? And it just gets sloppy and messy. And this felt cohesive, and it felt like these are the characters, this is the story that we're telling with these characters, and it was surprisingly good. Like, it was funny and entertaining with some good action scenes, but then there's also some like really nice emotional moments that legitimately land, and they're well acted, and it like works. So yeah, I was as surprised as anybody, but it kind of renews my hope that maybe they're like Marvel movies are getting back on their feet. The last one wasn't quite as good, but this one was legit, and the next one's going to be Fantastic Four, which I'm pretty sure is going to be awesome. I saw Thunderbolts in IMAX 3D. The 3D was actually pretty good. And beforehand, they showed a trailer for the Fantastic Four, and I normally only would watch teaser trailers that don't spoil too much, but this one, I was like, it's in 3D. I couldn't resist it. I had to watch it, and I was like, I shouldn't be watching this. It's spoiling too much. But I don't think it did spoil too much, and I'm still super psyched for the movie, so I'm like, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, I recommend Thunderbolts. You can see it on the big screen if you want. If not, you could also just wait for it to hit Disney Plus, if you have Disney Plus, whatever. But check it out, because it was actually like legit good. Who knew? As for games, I have continued playing a good amount of Disney, because I'm trying to do the new Star Path and finish all that. But I knew that I would be taking a step back from it this last week, because there was a new Infinity Nikki update, the big 1.5 update that introduces a new realm and multiplayer and all kinds of stuff. You can dye your clothes and add patterns and all this stuff. It's a huge update. So the servers were down all Monday night for that, and then on Tuesday afternoon on Facebook, I happened to see in my Facebook feed, because I follow Infinity Nikki on Facebook, there was this big apology letter from the developers in the best English that they could manage, apologizing for how incredibly buggy this new update is. It was a big update, which means big bugs. And everyone's having problems, and they're like, please don't leave us, stay with us, and continue spending money on our gacha game. Please forgive us, and and all this stuff. And they're like, we're working on all the bugs and whatever. And I'm just like, well, that doesn't bode well. And because there's apparently like the new realm is like completely buggy, and there's all these graphical glitches, and the game freezes, and then people can't do certain things, they don't have power. Like, The game is broken. So I found after work, when I went and tried to play it, I discovered that I was experiencing what I think all the other PlayStation 5, or at least most of the other PlayStation 5 players are experiencing, which is you can't even play the game. I see the login screen from the Spooky update, which was like, whatever, 2 or 3 updates ago. And she's sitting at the piano, but there's no music playing. There's like some sound effects of like, whatever, like walking as Momo like dances around. I think that's the sound I hear. But there's like no sound, and it doesn't actually load anything. It just says, "Welcome to the game, Wootini. Press X to log in." But of course, pressing X or any other button on the controller does absolutely fuck all, and nothing happens. And rude. So I did check again, like for the next couple of days. I would check and I would boot up the game and see, and it would be the same screen and nothing would happen. And I said, okay, never mind. And now I'm at the point where clearly they need to do like a full, they need to push an update to the PS5. So I'm not going to try again until I see a notification that Infinity Nikki has downloaded and installed an update, because that will be what will hopefully fix the game. But like I saw online, like people were complaining, they're like, what the hell, the game's unplayable, I can't even log in. And there were people who said that if you uninstall the game and reinstall it, it will let you in and you'll be able to play the game. However, they found out that you lose like the photos that you took, and like I don't want to lose photos, I don't want to lose any of my inventory or my clothes or my outfits or any of the progress that I have made. I also should not have to uninstall the game and reinstall it. They should just fix it so I can play it again. I shouldn't have to go through all that effort myself. And they're like, maybe if you have PlayStation Plus, it'll retain all of it. I don't know. And I'm like, I'm not risking that. Also, the fact that, as you know from the last couple episodes, I did finish the main storyline. And I've been doing like the extra stuff afterwards, which is just like more collection and stuff. And it is entertaining. It is fun to just explore. It's very chill. And I do enjoy playing it after work to chill out. But I did finish the main storyline, and I never spent a single penny on the game. So as far as I'm concerned, if I never play it again, okay. It's sad because I do enjoy exploring the world and it is cool and chill. But it's fine. I didn't waste money on it, so I'm not out any money, so who cares? So I'm perfectly willing to wait for them to do another system update, and then maybe then I can play the game again. We'll see. I'm not uninstalling. I'm not losing any progress, not even my photos. So, yeah. So I did not play any Infinity Nikki this week, as it turns out, but that was good because that gave me the opportunity to say, hey, let's make some progress in Starfield, which I don't normally have time to do. So, as you might recall, I had reached a point, I was trying to finish the Freestar Rangers side quest, and the final mission required me to do space combat, which I suck at. And I said, you know what? That is an optional side quest. I don't need to do, I would like to finish it, but I don't need to finish it. So let me just go ahead and say, F it, I'll just do the main storyline. So I did the main storyline, found the last couple of artifacts, made my choice between the hunter and the emissary, which for me was like a no-brainer. It's like the hunter killed a bunch of people, and including your best friend Barrett. My best friend Barrett, I mean. And then the emissary is basically Barrett from a parallel universe. So I'm inclined to trust him anyway, which made me wonder if this was like another trick of the games, but it turned out it was not, and I don't really think it matters who you pick. I mean, it matters because whoever you pick, the other one comes with you on the final mission to fight that one. Like, you pick the emissary, so he comes with you when I fight the hunter. So I go to the final temple, and there's more space fighting. And worse, I'm fighting against starborn ships, so the space fight lasted literally 2 seconds, and I was blown up, and that was the end of me. And after the second time I blew up in 2 seconds, I said, fuck this game. And I turned it off. And I was like so close to just rage quitting. Because I was like, I don't want to go back and try to upgrade my ship. Because I thought about doing that with the Freestar Rangers, and I said, never mind, I'll just do the main story. But then the main story forced me to do space combat. And I'm like, I'm not upgrading my ship because I don't know how to upgrade my ship. And even if I did upgrade my ship, I'm not going to be able to get shields and weapons powerful enough to offset my lack of skill at the space combat in general. And that's the problem with this game is I like the game, but it just shows, like, that's just shitty game design as far as I'm concerned, because in the game, you're playing and you're leveling up your character, you're spending skill points, and you're finding better weapons and better armor so that your character is getting stronger and can do more damage, and that's all great. But the space combat was basically optional for the entire game, until like the end of the Freestar Rangers quest and the main quest. So I'm like, it was all these side things, and it was never really that hard if I wanted to try. Like, there were times when I was like, never mind. But like, it doesn't prioritize the space combat, so you never really learn it or get better at it, and you're never like finding new ship parts as you're exploring to say, oh, look, I found, because you go around and you're like, oh, what a great shotgun. That's better than the shotgun I have. Let me take it and get rid of the old one. You're not like flying around and being like, oh, I found these new lasers for my ship that are better than the lasers that I have. You're not upgrading it the same way you do your regular weapons and armor. So it's sort of shitty that at the end of the game, they're like, here's a really hard space fight. And I was like, God damn it. So I will say that I thought about rage quitting, but then I was like, no, finish the damn game. And I said, I'm just going to go into settings and lower the difficulty so that I can get through the space fight. And then I'll put it back up when I get down on the ground. So I go into the settings, and there are actually multiple settings for difficulty. There are settings for the ground difficulty for shooting people, and then there are separate settings for the space flight combat. And to me, that tells me that the developers knew that they needed to do that because the game was not properly balanced as far as like teaching you how to play it and upgrading along the way. So I said, there you go. So I lowered the space combat to very easy so that I would do tons of damage and they would do hardly any. And I went back and I got most of the way through the fight before I blew up. So I was like, well, at least now I have a fighting chance. I was able to put up a fight. Let me try it one more time. And then the final time I got rid of the side ships and then got rid of the big ship, and it was fine. And I made it down to the planet's surface, where I did not have to go and up the difficulty back to normal because I was still in normal combat for, shooting. And then the shooting was fine. It was just a lot of it. And I fought my way through the base, and I fought my way down into the temple. And I actually was able to persuade my way into letting the hunter give me his artifacts. I didn't have to fight him. So I basically talked my way out of the final boss battle, which was kind of awesome. And then I was basically done. So I went back to the lodge where I said goodbye to my friends. It's an optional part of the mission. You can just go into the Unity if you want. But I wanted to say goodbye to everybody and kind of like bring an end to the story and say a tearful goodbye to Sam and all. Unfortunately, while doing this, I actually ended up unlocking Andreja and Sarah's friendship quests. So I was like, God damn it. I want to do those. But I also want to end the game because I'm like right there. And after 80 plus hours, I'm like, I kind of want to put this down for a while. Play something different. So I was like, as much as I want to do your friendship quests, not right now. So what I did was I saved my game so that I can come back to that and do those friendship quests if I want. But I flew up, went into the Unity where you meet yourself, and he's like, hey, what's up? Are you ready to go into the Unity? And you can actually turn around and walk out and go back to the game, and I can do those friendship quests and keep playing the game, whatever. And then I can jump into the Unity at any point, whenever I feel like it. So I was like, no, I want to I want to go in the Unity and get the end credits. But he also gives you like, you can see like, there's like little epilogues, like characters appear in the mist, and you can like check them out, and he's like, this is what happened to Sam, this is what happened to Emissary, this is what happens to Constellation. And then they're like, this is what happened with that UC Vanguard quest with getting rid of the Terrormorphs, and this is what's happening with that. So I guess like there were a lot of extra spaces because I didn't finish the Freestar Rangers quest. I didn't do the Ryujin Industries or the Power Quest or any of that stuff. So I think for those main quests, the main side quests, you can get epilogues there before going into the Unity. I was like, fine. So I go in the Unity, it's all cosmic and whatever, and you get the credits. And then after the credits, instead of like some games where it puts you back just before the ending so you can do whatever you didn't do, this actually puts you in a new game, like right off. It puts you back into the world. It's a parallel world, and says go land at New Atlantis and talk to everybody at the lodge. So you do that, but now you're in a Starborn ship and in Starborn armor because you are now a Starborn, which changes the game dramatically. But it's actually, I think, a really clever way of like addressing the new game plus kind of thing that you get in a lot of games. Because they'll either jump you back to right before the ending, or you start a new game plus where you have like all your armor and weapons and you can keep playing and do it all over again, but with like all the skills and stuff. So like I have all of my skills, my level, I have all of my Starborn powers, but I don't have guns or any kind of inventory except my spacesuit, which is choice. It's better than the other ones. So I'm like, great. So you go to the lodge and you basically explain like, hey, I'm a Starborn, this is what the artifacts are, and you can choose to do the main quest again, or you can skip it and just say, no, we're going to just do this. And so now in the New Game Plus, I can go and do all those side quests again. I'd have to do the whole Freestar Rangers thing again. But it's an interesting way to do it because now it's the same characters, but they don't know you and you don't have relationships with any of them. So now I can like romance Barrett. And if we're not doing the main quest line, he wouldn't die. So I can romance Barrett, and then I could do the Ryujin Industries side quest or some other thing. Or I can and I can focus more on space combat this time, which I would not do. But like every time you step into the Unity, you start a new game and the world is slightly different. And you can do the Unity at any point. So that's kind of like you just gather the artifacts and do it again. And I was like, that's interesting. So that's kind of fun. So I'm done with Starfield, basically. I do kind of want to do those friendship quests, but again, after 80, 90 hours of playing Starfield, I feel like I've gotten my money's worth and I'm going to move on to play something else. It is a good game. I do have my issues. Like, it looks great, it plays great, the characters were great, the story was good, the acting was good. And I do, as I said in the previous episode when it happened, I give them so much credit for that mid-game twist where it's like, oh no, the two characters that you love the most are in jeopardy and you can only save one of them. And I thought that was devious and delightful. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I can appreciate it looking back and saying, as far as the story goes, it helps give it some emotional weight and you get more invested. But it is a lot. There is way too much to do. Although now, having finished it, I see that the reason there's so much to do is because you're not meant to do it all in one playthrough. So it's like, I should have only just done one of the main side quests. And then I can go into the Unity and then you can start over and do the other main side quest, So like, you're not necessarily meant to do it all at once, if that makes sense. But it was good. It's too big. It was overwhelmingly large. And I will say, I mentioned this before, that as opposed to like, the Skyrim type of, or Fallout kind of games, it doesn't, because you're, jumping between planets in your spaceship and you're jumping to different systems, you don't get the sense of an open world that you're like, let me explore. Oh, what's that castle? Let me explore. Like on a planet, you can kind of do some limited exploring, but it's not really ever that interesting. And it's not like there's stuff on the planets to really find and explore. So didn't feel as immersive and I wasn't as drawn into the world. So that I was more, it's probably why I was able to actually finish it, because I was focusing more on the story instead of getting lost on planets and exploring and just going la la la, like in No Man's Sky, where you're just flying around doing whatever. So it helped me to finish it, but I missed that kind of like single world immersion in this space where you're exploring all over the map and seeing what's what. So I kind of missed that immersion with Starfield. It doesn't quite have that feel. But it was good, and I don't regret buying my Xbox to play it, because there are other Xbox games I want to play. But I have something else I want to play, so this is way too long already. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you've been watching the last couple episodes, you can probably guess what it is that I'm going to play. So you can come back next episode and see if you guessed correctly, because I'll be talking about my first impressions of this game. See you then. Bye!